Hello, and welcome back to my take. Now, my plan for this week was to originally cover Guy Ritchie's latest film, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I hope to go and see in cinemas. However, that movie is only getting a cinema release in America and not here in the UK. So frustratingly, I don't think I can find a way to review that just yet. It's said to come to streaming in the UK soon, but to my knowledge, no confirmation has been provided as to when. If it does come to streaming this week, though, I will find time to review it. Whilst I work on my much bigger and more in-depth video on Casino Royale, I wanted to get something out as I haven't uploaded in over a week. So I thought I'd briefly discuss another Guy Ritchie film starring Henry Cavill that doesn't get nearly enough love and attention, and that's The Man from U.N.C.L.E. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was originally a TV series released through the years 1964 to 1968, and truth be told, I don't know so much about that, aside from the fact that it stars the characters of Napoleon Solo and Illya Kuryakin, much like the 2015 film does. But the film I have seen, and seen many times in fact, and there's a number of reasons why I think that this movie is so good. So in this video, I'm going to discuss what it was that made The Man from U.N.C.L.E. such an enjoyable watch. Firstly, it's the cast. This movie is excellently casted by having Henry Cavill in the lead role as Napoleon Solo. I can't think of a better role that he's done to date that would prove that this man should be our next James Bond, and he has the charisma and acting chops to pull that off brilliantly. Next is Armie Hammer, who does an excellent job playing Illya Kuryakin. I describe Illya as quite a layered character in this film, especially by comparison to some of the others, and there's more of a range of emotions expressed in comparison to the much more suave Napoleon Solo. And Armie does a great job at conveying this. Illya feels like a tortured soul, with his bursts of anger and his attempts to control it being at the center of this. Some notable scenes while thinking about this are when he's meeting Solo in the restaurant for the first time, and when the muggers steal his father's watch. We also see him fall for Alicia Vikander's character, Gabby, and this enables the audience to see the softer side to this character as well, which in turn helps humanize him. Having said all that, what I also like about this performance is the way that Illya is written and performed. Whilst the depth and darkness is definitely present within the character, it's muted to a level that fits with the charming and comedic tone of the overall movie. He feels serious enough, but not too serious to start to break apart the overall tone that the film is going for. Speaking of tone, that's another element of this movie that I adore. It balances very dark themes such as spies, nuclear weapons, and the overall backdrop of the Cold War with some genuinely funny and witty moments. I personally love the scenes where Napoleon and Illya are competing against one another in various ways, with the standouts being them working together to break into the warehouse, with both of them trying to one-up each other all the way through and yet making mistakes, and also the scene where they hand back recording devices to each other that they use to bug each other's rooms.
What are you doing? You're not supposed to be here.
These are Russian made.
1 second. These are American made. And very low tech.
That bow tie doesn't work with that suit.
The two play off each other very well in this film, and they start as rivals and slowly become friends. This is exemplified in the scene near the end where Illya is sent to kill Napoleon in order to recover the disc containing the nuclear weapon plans. It's evident in Armie Hammer's performance that he doesn't want to kill Solo. And likewise, despite his obvious caution and preparedness for an attack by Illya, Solo, having recovered Ilya's father's watch that was stolen earlier on in the film, gives this to him as a peace offering right at the last moment. It's revealed that both had orders to kill the other, but the reluctance to do so on both sides reveals how far they've come from their initial meeting where they fight. The other standout performance to me is Elizabeth Debicki's Victoria. For me, she steals every scene she's in this film. She's commanding and intelligent, and she fits as the perfect villain for this film, playing very well off Napoleon Solo in particular. The film also has a very cool aesthetic. I'm personally a massive fan of the style of the 1960s, be it the cars, the fashion, and even the technology, which I find quite charming in its own way. And I feel this film showcases all of that very well. This film also has some very nicely made action set pieces, the opening car chase in the beginning being my favourite, as it combines all the tonal elements together really nicely. Because what you have is an intense chase sequence with high stakes, but at the same time, moments of comedy scattered in there to keep the tone more lighthearted. Chase to rescue Gabby is another favourite of mine, with Illya on the bike and Napoleon in the buggy. It's a very cool scene, and that scene has arguably one of my favourite bits of a movie score of all time in there, and it's a specific track called Take You Down by Daniel Pemberton, and to me it sounds so cool, and I'm guessing that others agree given that it also featured in the first season of The Boys. Speaking of the score, I think this film has a very unique score that combines a lot of different elements together. And I know basically nothing about music, so that's all I can really say about that.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
But it sounds really cool in my opinion, and again, lines up really nicely with the film's overall tone. I think overall, the one thing this review keeps coming back to is a point about the tone. And the tone of this film is really what glues it all together. The tone just works for me. It has enough layers of depth to be interesting and have some stakes to it, but at the same time, it remains super fun as a result of its well-timed and well-written comedy. If you, like me, are currently unable to watch The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare just yet, and are looking for something with a similar vibe, then if you haven't already, I highly recommend you check out The Man from U.N.C.L.E. If you've seen it before and haven't seen it for a while, I highly recommend you check it out again, as I found this film to be very enjoyable to rewatch. So that was my take on The Man from U.N.C.L.E, and I hope to find a way to review The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare when possible, as I'm very, very excited to watch that. But in the meantime, I have plenty more content on the way to release over the coming weeks. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe for more content like this in the future, coming soon. Thank you.